So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we're going over a quick topic test with a collection of some GCSE exam style questions on statistical measurement 7 at foundation level. Now a copy of the questions for you to have an attempt at before watching through this video is available for you to download by clicking on the link in the description, which I strongly recommend you do to see how much understanding you have on this topic. Now it's worth mentioning before we get started working through this test that there is no indication about whether any of the questions are specific to a non-calculator or calculator question, so we'll just make sure that we show our full working out. So getting started on question 1, it says below is a list of numbers, and we've got a list of numbers, and it says what is the mode. We need to circle our answer. So the mode is the number that appears the most, and from this it's going to be 7. It then says what is the mean, so what we need to do is add all of those numbers up, and if we add them up all correctly we should end up with a score of 50, and if we divide that by 10 we should get an answer of 5, so we just need to circle the number 5. Then for question 1c it says what is the range. Well, the range is the biggest number take away the smallest number, so looking at the list it's going to be 9 take away 0, so it's going to be 9 minus 0, which is 9. Then says what is the median, so what I need to do here is order the numbers, and so if I order all of those 10 numbers correctly, so let's just put a few dashes, let's do it up here. If I order those numbers I'm going to end up with 0, then 2 3s, then 2 4s, then a 6, and then we've got 3 7s, and we've got a 9. So from this you can see that the middle number is going to be between 4 and 6. So the answer then is going to be 5. So I need to circle 5. So moving on to question 2, it says here is a list of numbers, and the first part is to find the mean of those numbers. So here if we add up all the numbers, so 7 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5 gives me an answer of 20, and I divide that by 5, I should have an answer of 4. Question 2b, it says 15 is added to each of the numbers in the list. What will the mean be now? Well, I can either add 15 to each of those numbers. So 7 plus 15 is going to give me 22. 4 plus 15 is going to give me 19. 2 plus 15 is 17. And 5 plus 15 is going to give me 20. So if I add up all of those numbers, that's going to give me an answer of 95. And if I do 95 divided by 5, I should have an answer of 19. An alternative, what you could have done is basically if all the numbers are being added by 15, you can just do the original mean, which is 4 plus 15, and that would also give you 19. So any of those would be good enough to get the 2 marks, but just make sure that you're not just writing 19, make sure you are showing some form of working out. Then for question 3a, it says 10 dogs attend a training class with their owners and are scored out of 10. 5 of the dogs are Alsatians and the other 5 are Labradors. The Alsatians have a range of 8 and a mean of 4.4. Here are the results of the Labradors. Use the data to investigate the hypothesis that Labradors score better in training than Alsatians. So for this, what we need to do is to work out the mean of the Labradors. Let's just abbreviate them as lab. So if I do 7 plus 5 plus 8 plus 9 plus 4, that gives me an answer of 33. And then if I then divide both those numbers by 5. Now if this was on a non-calculator, the best way for me to do it is to make the denominator equal to 10 by doubling. So it's going to be 6.6. Now the range of the Labradors is going to be 9 take away 4, which is 5. And then from this, what I then need to do is to draw my conclusions. Now, your conclusions could be anything along these lines, but basically using these results, I would say, and I'm just write conclusion, is you can see that the Labradors have a higher mean and a smaller range. And then once you've commented on your calculations, you then want to say, does this support or sort of go against the hypothesis? And so therefore this supports the hypothesis. Oh, don't I put an additional E there, so let's get rid of that. That Labradors score higher than Alsatians. Just about spell it, and there we go. So something along those lines would be fine. For 5 marks, that's very, very generous, but I would say you're probably looking at 2 marks for calculating the mean, 1 for the range, 1 mark for commenting on what basically you can do compared to the Alsatians, and then 1 mark for saying whether it supports or goes against the initial hypothesis. Question 3b, it says give 2 ways in which you can improve your investigation to make the conclusion more reliable. Now, the first and obvious way, which is always going to be on how you could always improve a statistical sort of a test, is basically to increase the sample size. So in other words, what you're looking at is to look at more results. Would be another option. The second way you could do is basically use different classes. And something along those lines, because obviously we've only used 1 class, so maybe a case of seeing if there's any notable difference in there. You could also basically say you could use more samples and see if another class draws the same conclusion. So anything along those lines will be good enough to get your 2 marks.